republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our invocation tonight from the Wendell Council of Churches, we're going to hear from Pastor Wallace Johnson from Wendell United Methodist Church.
Mayor Gregg, Commissioners, good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. Just a couple of thank yous from the Council of Churches. We did our annual food drive a few weeks ago, and it was a huge success. So if you saw a brown bag on your front porch, that was from us. So thank you for doing that. Last night, actually, we had our big Thanksgiving community service, which was fantastic. We had several churches have a very diverse amount of singing. It was a lot of fun. It was good. From our church and from Pleasant Grove, I don't know if you saw the Facebook post I put out today. We're collecting toys for Pride for Parents. If you're interested in that, you can drop toys off. I've got my black truck parked right out there. You can drop them off there, or Pleasant Grove, or Wendell United Methodist Church. We're trying to spread a little Christmas joy this year. Mary, let us pray. Oh, also, I listened a couple weeks ago online. I wasn't here, so I wrote a special prayer just for tonight.
Thank you.
Let us pray. Lord, we come before you this evening. We ask for your divine help. You know that we're about to make some difficult decisions that impact lives. Grant us to know the wisdom of what to say, compassion to say it honestly, and the openness to hear things we don't want to hear. May our words heal and not hurt. May our sharing be done with kindness as we respect those around us. Grant that within this group there might be the kind of attitude that will allow us to face our challenges as one body, as one community, caring for each other. Let our comments be for the common good, and let us identify the spark of the Imago Dei, the image of God that's present in everyone, the image of God present in each of us here, the image of God present in Commissioner Deloach, Commissioner Trinaski, Commissioner Boyette, Commissioner Lutz, Commissioner Joyner, and Mayor Gray. And a prayer from an old liturgy from 1100, an old Psalm liturgy. God be in the head of my understanding. God be in my eyes and in my looking. God be in my mouth and in my speaking. God be in my heart and in my thinking. God be in my end and my departing. In the name of the one that we call Jesus, who is our Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
All right, we have a motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're going to move into our public comment period. Public comment process was provided tonight for either in person or in advance of the meeting. The public had the opportunity to submit their written comments to the town clerk, or were able to submit a request to participate via calling in the conference by emailing their name, address, and phone number to the clerk by this past Friday. That's always our procedure right now if you ever want to give public comment from home, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Before we get going, we have a full house tonight, and I want to give you all a real quick reminder that this is our business meeting, and that I absolutely expect a certain amount of decorum to be maintained. I'm not going to make any exceptions. I know a lot of you are friends. I'm friends with people up here. Please don't put me in a position to have to get after you. No outbursts. No side conversations that can be heard. I could hear people talking the whole time last time. Your voices do carry in here. No applause, no booing, no outbursts. The public comment is for comment only. According to our rules of procedure, there's not a response from the board or staff that you're going to hear after you say or ask whatever questions that you have. I do try to make notes, and we can get back to you on things, and that happens a lot, but you won't be receiving an answer while you're standing there. And I also want to remind the board to hold comments and responses back, because sometimes the board, last time especially, felt the need to comment or reply, and that's not supposed to happen either. It's not appropriate, and you can hold those comments as well till a later time, till your comment up here. So let's get started. First one, you have 3 minutes from the time you start, is Wayne Norris.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, Town of Wendell staff, Wendell citizens, thank you for giving me 3 minutes to talk with you tonight. I've come here tonight for the third time, speaking for the third time, expecting us to deny this Edwards property subdivision proposal. I've spoken several times and given reasons why this is not a fit for that particular area. And I can't think of too many other places around Wendell that it is. Nothing has changed in the last several weeks that will change this proposal to allow this to be passed, in my opinion. I've talked to members of the staff here, I've talked to commissioners, and I've talked to a lot of people around Wendell. In a couple of meetings with staff and also with commissioners, in this discussion, I pointed out again section 16.1 about the UDO, indicating that these subdivisions should be homogeneous. And in those discussions, I was asked what that meant. What was the definition of that? I was kind of taken aback by it, to the point where I said, well, I don't know why I have to give you that definition. I would like for the citizens of Wendell to get your definition of what that means, so we wouldn't have this ridiculous plan get this far again. So I would like to have an expectation of some type of feedback from the commissioners telling us just what is homogeneous in this area for subdivisions. In addition to that, there are several things that I did want to bring up regarding starter homes. I've had a number of builders here in Wendell and others to say, we need starter homes around Wendell. And for the life of me, I don't understand that. They're saying that we can't build houses here other than starter homes that'll be sold. Let's go to Flowers Plantation and get Miss Flowers to come here and show us how to start a subdivision that's middle class and up. She went out in the middle of the jungle and has built a really nice place where people are buying it every day. Everything she builds over there is selling. So these houses that are middle class and above, they have middle class income. They have discretionary income where starter homes, I lived in a starter home for years, I know, and I didn't have hardly any discretionary funds to spend in Wendell. So I just wanted to bring that up. I've had both of my children to move from Wendell because they couldn't find a house suitable enough for the income level that they rose to. So think about that. Quickly, several items on this proposed subdivision. In Chapter 9.8 of the UDO.
I'm sorry, your time's up.
Oh my gosh.
See the little, y'all watch the light.
Well, there's the subdivision entrance has
Maybe
two
you could pass
entrances
it to
that are
someone else
not
who's
800
gonna
feet
speak.
apart, and they don't meet that definition.
Rebecca Woodward.
I'm Rebecca Woodward, and I live at 117 Wiley Oaks Drive. And I'm here to speak about the 1320 Wendell Falls Parkway development. And I want to thank the commissioners that I've been able to speak with and the mayor for your time. We live in the ETJ, and it felt like we have no voice because we have no vote. And so I appreciate the conversations I've had with you to discuss your visions for Wendell. So change and growth can be a good thing, with long-range planning, which comes from carefully calculated steps, not just for tax dollars, but for neighborhoods, schools, green space, and traffic flow. All of that we can take pride in and leave a legacy of a well-planned, safe hometown for future generations. And the overall planning of our town needs to be reviewed periodically. So we do need different sizes of homes in Wendell, but at this, for this current project, the townhomes are not harmonious with Wiley Oaks. Wiley Oaks does have homes that are on 1.25 acre and up to 3 acres, and the townhomes that are proposed obviously are on much smaller plots and smaller homes. So I would ask you to revisit the blueprint for this project and the proposed townhomes. I have spoken to some of you about traffic flow, and it's still a concern, but I have been told that now the proposed plan for Wendell Falls Parkway is 2 lanes in each direction with a planted center median. So, and that's definitely going to be a huge help, but that's a good start, but I think we're still going to be needing more attention to that in the future because of the traffic, of the amount of traffic. And once that's, and I do understand that that will be completed before there can be any occupancy in the residential or commercial properties at that location. So, the intersection of Wiley Oaks and Pool Road will need to be addressed with this 2 lanes each direction, center median. I don't know how we'll make a left turn out of Wiley Oaks or out of Pool Road with that type of construction. So if you can please make a note about that. And one of my concerns was retention ponds, and I do thank Mr. Ellis. He's been very accommodating and available for questions. He's even offered to talk with the residents once the engineering plan is done. So we do appreciate that. I'm just asking the town of Wendell to just review all these plans and just give it a second consideration and look at Wiley Oaks. Come drive down our street.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Your time's up. Edie now.
Thank you. I'm Edie Nowell. I lived at 1016 Lakeland Road. I would like for the board to listen to us from the community of Lakeland Road. We're talking about Blair Hills. We're asking that this new development be redone or denied on the grounds that it is not compatible with the existing land use density. This is something that the planning board, and I can't understand why this got past the planning board when they even stated that it should be compatible with the density of the surrounding area. With Blair Hills, they have nice lots, and with these townhomes, again, the land use is not compatible. And it's not compatible with Blair Hills, but along with anything that is on Lakeland Road. And I stand by Wiley Oaks also. That is a nice neighborhood. Again, the density for the townhomes out there is not compatible with the existing land use. So please consider that and deny both the Edwards and the one at Wiley Oaks. Thank you.
Jill Herzog.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. My name is Jill Norris Herzog, and I live at 4829 Stony Oak Lane in Raleigh. I may not be a current resident of Wendell, but I was born and raised in this town. My family lived on Forest Lane in Wendell until I was in the 2nd grade, and then we moved out to Blair Hills off of Lakeland Road, and I lived there until my parents kicked me out after college. When I think about my childhood in Wendell, I remember being one of the many children that stayed at ABC Land after school. I remember drinking a cherry Sprite at Saunders Pharmacy and eating a biscuit at Aubrey's every Saturday morning. When I was young, I could ride my bike from Blair Hills to Wendell without any worry or fear because I knew if I needed help, someone would pick me up if I was too tired to make the trip back. The town was full of great people. When I got married, my husband and I bought our first home in Wendell, and as a young adult full of creative ideas and energy, I threw myself into my community and my church. There were years that I felt like I spent more time in downtown Wendell and at my church than I did at my own house. As our family began to grow and we wanted to purchase a larger home, we decided to start looking. We left Wendell a little over 6 years ago and bought a bigger home in a subdivision off of Pool Road. I longed for my children to have the same type of subdivision that I did when I grew up. I wanted them to have neighbors, but I also wanted them to have a large yard that they could play in and woods to explore. I wanted them to have roads that were safe to bike on without fear of too much traffic. When we made the decision to move out of Wendell, it changed more things than just our address. We picked different schools closer to where we lived. We started visiting other churches where our children's friends were attending. Everything we involved ourselves in shifted away from Wendell. The move impacted all aspects of our lives. Is this what you want to happen for the current residents to leave and become involved in other communities? Obviously, I'm passionate about this decision because it affects my family home, the place my parents planted roots and built the home that they wanted to spend the rest of their lives in. I ask you to think about all those residents like me who are looking for the next step, or who might want to build their forever home. There are very few places in Wendell that offer the things we were looking for. If you continue to build small homes on small lots, you will bring in people looking for starter homes and a place to live for only just a few years. Then they're going to sell and they're going to move out of town. I'm asking you to give your current residents nicer options so that they don't have to leave. Listen to your residents, the ones who have spent their entire adulthood in this community giving back to local businesses. They are the backbones of this community, and I fear you're going to continue to push residents and people like me out of this great town if you don't deny this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Brenda Williams.
Thank y'all for letting me come again. I live on Green Willis Circle. I'm Brenda Williams, and I'm a different type learner than most people. I'm a visual person. And this is Wendell now. This is proposed Wendell now. Look how tight we are. But you guys are kind of comfortable over there, aren't you? Yeah. Well, that's how it's going to be. I want to go over this a little bit more. I went over it last time, but, you know, a lot of people asked me to do it again. This is the proposed neighborhoods. The Glennon is going to have 578 residential on 59.5 acres. That's a tenth of an acre. Every little spot, every person's going to live a tenth of an acre, you guys. That's going to be close. Wendell Falls, Phase 10, 392 neighborhoods. Proposed neighborhood, and on a 76.62 acres, that's 0.2, a little bit up. They'll be a little bit different. Harmony acres is 202, and on 70.43 acres, and that's a 0.3 lot. Okay. Richardson Farm, 323 on 42 acres, that's another 0.10. Richardson Multifamily, 365, these people are going to be tight right here, on 10 acres, and it's 0.031. All they got to do is do this, you know, they're buddies. Harper's Glen, 456 on 88 acres, that's 0.19. McKenzie Meadows, 320, that is on 70 acres, that's a 0.21. Eagles Rise, 172 on 39 acres, 0.22. 1032 Wendell Falls Parkway, 103, 34 acres, 0.33. 1320 Wendell Falls Parkway, 201, 0.9. It's 39.5 acres, but it's a 0.19, excuse me. And then Bell Grove, 205 on 42 acres, that's a 0.20. So truly, if you're a visual learner like me, this is Wendell now. This is what Wendell is going to be, okay? Thank you.
Elizabeth White.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Town Commissioners. My name is Elizabeth White, and I own the farm on the southern border of the Edwards property. This farm is currently used by my family for recreation and is leased out yearly for farming. I have no plans to sell this property, and my children look forward to possibly building there one day. The original plan submitted by the developer showed a sewage line on my property, 9 lots and houses, as well as a stormwater containment pond and a street encroachment, all on my easement. This plan was unanimously approved by the Technical Review Committee. I'm not sure how that happened. It took me contacting a lawyer to remove all encroachments from my deeded easement. We were never contacted by the town or the developer prior to the initial meeting on October 25th. We were shocked, needless to say. At that meeting, the engineer made a very inappropriate comment concerning my son as part of the meeting as he faced the audience and walked to the podium. There was no truth in his remark. It was totally unprofessional and makes me question the developer's integrity. In addition, I cannot support the plan as R4 density is much too high and not compatible with the neighboring agricultural setting and the surrounding neighborhoods. Since last meeting, I have looked at many of the developments in process in and around Wendell. I am amazed. It would be wise to revisit Wendell's long-term development plan and slow down the rate of development. In addition, most of these plans are for high-density neighborhoods. There should be other housing options for the people of Wendell. I'm so proud of the citizens of Wendell for coming out and voicing their very legitimate concerns. I am urging the town commissioners to listen to the people of Wendell and vote no to annexation rezoning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mary Fish?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. Again, Mary Fish, and I live at 206 White Lane in Blair Hills. Once again, we are here to oppose the rezoning of the Edwards property as a high-density project. Today, Wendell is being saturated with large-scale developments. Since the last meeting, I too also reached out to many of the citizens in Wendell. And I will tell you, they are greatly concerned about the direction that this town is headed. Why do you think so many people were here at the last meeting, and why do you think there's so many people here again tonight? Of course, all citizens have the right to sell their land, but it is the responsibility of this town's officials that it is done in accordance with the rules established in the overall town plan. The growth that is taking place now and is soon to come is unprecedented for Wendell. There are hundreds of acres of land that have already been cleared to development, and other neighborhoods that have been planned and are coming soon. The Wendell Comprehensive Plan, approved by your predecessors, states that the Lakeland Road area is to be a restricted growth sector. In other words, this area is to be preserved. Specifically, as written, this identified Sector 3 area is intended for very limited development, quote, under tightly controlled conditions. According to the plan, S3, and this is on page 27, includes the following. S3, low-density cluster development around Royal Crossroads. Number 2, single-family residential development. 3, very limited retail use. And civic uses such as churches, parks, and schools. This proposed rezoning and development is not what is identified and approved. In fact, this should have never been signed off to begin with, and we shouldn't even be here tonight. The infrastructure and density of this proposed rezoning, as stated by the UDO, is not harmonious with existing conditions. If we look at this rezoning from a cost basis analysis, there is no actual benefit other than increased sales tax basis. The current zoning of R30 should remain. We want to see Wendell continue to grow, but in accordance with the town's plan and in harmony with neighborhood. It is truly a shame that we continue to meet with this rezoning and the future growth of Wendell. Enough is enough. We just ask you to please,
Your time's up.
to vote no to this rezoning.
Brandon Strickland, no clapping. Don't start.
Name and address, right? Do we have to do name and address at public
Yes,
comment?
yes.
Brandon Strickland, 4428 Roseville Road, Wendell. Madam Mayor and Commissioners, here to provide some numbers for the folks here, just to kind of illustrate some of the growth in what we're seeing right now. These numbers are from the Wendell Planning Department. I reached out via email and got these numbers directly. As of early November, the current total units of homes in Wendell was just under 4,600. That includes all types, townhomes, apartments, etc. Under construction and approved totals just over 4,700 units. So we're seeing about a doubling in the town, which is a pretty large trend, obviously. In the proposed, not approved sector, there's another 2,400 units. And what's alarming about that is 60% of those are townhomes and apartments. Only 39% are single-family homes. So the trend of high density is concerning. It's not growth that we're against, it's the kind of growth and the density that we're seeing. There's more townhomes and apartments in almost every subdivision that's in that town map if you pull it up. I'm a believer in free markets, capitalism, so I don't blame the developers. They want to fit as many houses as they can per acre to maximize their profits. We probably would do the same. But that doesn't mean that the town board has to approve it, because that may not be what's best for Wendell, may be what's best for them. They're going to leave. All the worries are behind. The traffic and infrastructure strain is going to be left for us to burden. We can't tell them what to build, I've heard that said, but if you say no, they're pretty smart and they pay a lot of money and they'll figure out what's acceptable. I hear people talk about diversity, and I believe in diversity. As a Christian person, I believe I want to have all sorts of folks in Wendell from all different backgrounds, socioeconomically, but we need a diversity of housing. If I wanted to go buy a new house on a quarter acre, where's that being built? It's not. Diversity is not just small homes or townhomes. It's about a variety and options for folks to look at. We're rapidly growing our town, and I think the infrastructure we have in place for this type of growth that I just talked about in doubling is inadequate, and I believe that we need to take a slight pause and slow down on the amount of growth. We need the character of what's being built to match the surrounding area, especially on these outskirts of town. There's a lot of people here tonight, and I know passions are high, and we may not be right on everything, but we've seen history repeat itself with other places that have grown too fast, and we don't want to see that happen here. We only get one chance to develop Wendell. Let's make it a place that we all want to live for the long term. I ask that you guys vote with your heart, vote with your moral compass, and vote with the people that are here tonight. Thank you all.
Thank you. Barb Sneed.
Thank you for letting me talk to you this evening. You have already been made aware several times of the incompatibility of the lots in the new subdivision next to Blair Hills.
Give me your address real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's
240 Wythe Lane,
Thank you.
Blair Hills. One of our concerns is the size of the lots. Obviously, we're talking about 8.7 lots per acre. My house on Blair Hills is on 2.5 acres almost. The smallest lot in Blair Hills is 1.22 acres. My daughter was looking for a home this year. She could not find anything in Wendell. We wanted her near us in Wendell. And she could not find anything that wasn't on a postage stamp lot. So she ended up going elsewhere in order to buy a house on an acre of land. And it is a new subdivision, so there are builders out there building on more land. We're concerned with traffic if this new subdivision is allowed to empty into Blair Hills. We're getting younger people into Blair Hills with children. And the increase in traffic would be a high safety concern. It would be for me if I still had children. I have grandchildren that come, and I don't want them near the street with the high volume of traffic this would bring. Right now, there's very little traffic in Blair Hills, and it's great. It's time for Wendell to upgrade divisions, some of their subdivisions, to make them subdivisions with larger lots. Builders are doing it in Johnston County. Builders are doing it in other counties. Wendell can certainly do this, and I very much go down against the new subdivision that will butt up to Blair Hills. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ruth Gentry?
My name is Ruth Gentry. I live at 254 White Lane. Mayor Gray, Commissioners, I appreciate the time and I appreciate your attention tonight. I hope that I have all of your attention. I'm speaking tonight in opposition to the planned development and rezoning effort of the Edwards property off Lakeland Road. You've heard most of these arguments, so I'm just going to, quickly go over a few key reminders. The planned development, number one, is clearly in direct conflict with the town's UDO. New developments must be harmonious with the area surrounding them. The density of the proposed development, lot size, type of home, road width, etc., are nowhere near harmonious to the neighboring Blair Hills, woods of Blair Hill, or homes on Lakeland Road. Number two, 2 weeks ago, a commissioner was concerned that all he heard was traffic, traffic, traffic. The traffic we are concerned about is not at the intersection of Wendell Falls Boulevard and 1003, which is 1.8 miles away, and will be addressed by the other subdivisions and townhomes that are coming in. But the traffic that we're concerned about would be the traffic going down Lakeland Road into town and across that small bridge near the waste treatment plant that currently is not much more than a one-lane bridge. I mean, everybody stops and lets the next car go by. And if there's a truck coming, you just don't go. And that little bridge would not withstand the amount of traffic that the currently planned subdivision would incur. The other concern would be the amount of traffic increase on Old Nell Road and possibly through Blair Hills on White Lane if a connection were approved there. Old Nell Road is a lot of farm traffic. There's the Todd's Farm there, and they use a lot of farm equipment up and down that road. And number three, please hear this. Density, 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 quality, quality, quality. That's our big concern. To be harmonious with the surrounding areas, lot sizes should be required to be no less than half an acre. Homes built with a square footage comparable to those in the surrounding areas, Blair Hills and up and down Lakeland Road. Facades should be stone, brick, hardy plank, etc. Certainly not builder grade or one step above builder grade vinyl, as the proposed builder said was being used even after they were requested not to use vinyl. And then, again, density, 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 quality, quality, quality. The proposed neighborhood appears to be a neighborhood of builder grade starter homes. We have a plethora of starter homes. My kids moved to Johnson County because they couldn't find anything in Wendell when they were ready to build their families and continue to grow in their housing. So I implore you to deny this proposal and deny this rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol Jurgen?
I'm Carol Jurgen, and my address is 113 Combs Court, located in the Blair Hills neighborhood and adjacent to the proposed Edwards parcels being considered as agenda items number 6A and 6B tonight. The Edwards preliminary plan for the parcels indicates a high-density development of over 270 units, presenting an abrupt and sharp contrast with adjoining properties and to the Lakeland Road and Blair Hills neighborhoods. Please do not annex and rezone the Edwards property for this proposed purpose. I extend my appreciation to all board members and our mayor for your courtesy and patience. Thank you.
Dave Wilder?
I'm Dave Wilder. I live at 212 Wythe Lane, and like so many others, I'm here to oppose the rezoning request along Lakeland Road. There are numerous reasons why this proposed development is a bad plan, but I want to speak to the most significant reason instead of getting sidetracked on all the other reasons, and that is the word that's been used, harmonious, and a synonym for that is compatibility. That's the issue here. The UDO requires you folks to ensure that future development is compatible with existing neighborhoods. One of your responsibilities is to regulate future land use so that neighboring landowners are not financially injured by incompatible new development. We own a nice home on a 2-acre wooded lot in Blair Hills. Bordering Blair Hills, just to the north, is the woods at Blair Hills. The homes there are similar, but the lots are about a half-acre, where the lots are larger in Blair Hills. Both of these neighborhoods consist of nice single-family homes with plenty of space in between. These neighborhoods are similar, but not the same. These neighborhoods are compatible. These neighborhoods complement each other. Along Lakeland Road and Old Nowell Road are similar homes. It's a nice area to live in, very desirable for people who value having homes that aren't real close together. This proposed development is in no way compatible with the established neighborhoods in that area. There is a tremendous shortage of houses similar to what you find currently out Lakeland Road from Buffalo Creek to Eagle Rock Road and down Old Nowell Road. It's hard to find a house like that around here. We searched and bought here a year and a half ago. There's a housing shortage for houses, yes, for starter homes, but also for larger homes on larger lots, right up to $750,000 homes, which we can't afford, but somebody can. The need isn't just for high-density developments. I request that you deny this rezoning request and insist that the new development be housing that is compatible with the existing area. I am not opposed to that tract of land being developed, but I am strongly opposed to rezoning from R30 all the way down to R4. That is just not acceptable.
Thank you. Jen or Jim Thompson? Difficult for me to, the pen was acting up.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. I am John Thompson. I live at 656 Rock Bank Loop in Wendell. I'm also a representative of the Woods of Blair Hills Homeowners Association. I, like so many others, are against this high-density Edwards property plan on Lakeland Road. It's not conducive to Blair Hills, Woods of Blair Hills, or the adjacent homes and farms in the neighborhood. The building components of this neighborhood are also vinyl siding and 1/8 acre lots, which is not anywhere close to existing homes in Woods of Blair Hills or Blair Hills. Those lots should be minimal, a half an acre, use cement board siding, and so forth, be conducive with the existing neighborhoods. We're concerned with traffic, water pollution, noise pollution, and trash pollution that comes along with high-density properties. High-density properties belong in major thoroughfares, not on tertiary roads like Lake Glad or any other road. We also have in the neighborhood have concerns about True Homes as a builder. Their first home that they built violated our covenants, and we had to hire an attorney to change their course of action. I have a copy of the plans, our covenants, and one of our attorney's bills. The first six or eight residents had joined in on to stop them, to prevent them from doing improper building. Several homes currently have water runoff issues and low area flooding due to inadequate grading of their properties. One homeowner had to install several $1,000s worth of French drains in order to fix the swamp in their backyard. Whether it's True Homes or any other builder, they have no long-term vested interest in the town of Wendell. They're here to make money and leave. They leave that impact on the residents and the town. Ask yourself, would you want this high-density development adjoining your neighborhood? I think not. I'm for proper planning for a better Wendell. In life, we all make poor decisions. Please don't let this be one of them by approving this high-density plan. This would negatively impact the existing residents in Woods of Blair Hills, and the Lake Glad community. Thank you for your time.
Steve Olson.
Hi, I'm Steve Olson. My wife and I live at 643 Rock Bank Loop in Wendell. Madam Mayor, Commissioners, I appreciate the opportunity to be heard this evening. I think everyone here would agree that achieving win-win outcomes in our various dealings is highly desirable. You know, the kind of outcomes where everyone leaves the table, so to speak, with a sense of knowing, of having made positive gains of some sort. As the term implies, everyone involved wins. That's not what we have with the Edwards Farm subdivision that has been proposed by True Homes. If we look more closely at the proposal, we can see clearly that True Homes wins and the homeowners of Blair Hills subdivision and the White family lose. The proposed subdivision is high density in nature and would back up to a portion of Blair Hills. Blair Hills is comprised of homes built on larger lots, some being a few acres in size. By comparison, the lots in the True Homes subdivision would be slightly less than 1/8 of an acre in size. So in a span the width of 2 acres, or roughly 400 feet, you would have 8 townhomes. One family currently living in Blair Hills would have 7 of these 3-story townhomes overlooking their backyard. Another would have 6, yet others would have 2 or 3 to look at every morning when they get up. If this proposed neighborhood is allowed to proceed, it would be a win for True Homes and a loss for the homeowners in Blair Hills. Many would lose the privacy they now enjoy, and all would see a reduction in their property values, in my opinion. The White family, who owns a farm along the eastern side of the subdivision, proposed subdivision, would no doubt have to contend with people trespassing on their farm, as well as the potential of people using or even blocking their right-of-way. In the meantime, True Homes would pocket their profits and move on to another location and do it again. Next, the published plans of the Edwards Farm subdivision depict 2 access roads being built to bridge Edwards Farm to Blair Hills. As I have stated elsewhere, the proposed subdivision would be built on a parcel that would make a bowling alley jealous. That is long and narrow with relatively little frontage on Lake Glad Road. If this were to be built out according to the published plans, there would be a traffic choke between phases 1 and 2. Even though it is my understanding that the property owners involved with the proposed connecting points between Blair Hills and Edwards Farm have declined advances made by True Homes to buy their property, I believe it would be entirely plausible for a move to be made through eminent domain to seize the property needed for access points. To make matters worse, the proposed plan shows 3 access roads being built out along the southern edge of the proposed Edwards Farm subdivision. I've been told that the depiction of these access roads is customary and required on plans like these, even so, I'm sure someone has aspirations for yet another high-density neighborhood that would adjoin Edwards Farm and would funnel yet more traffic through Blair Hills should these plans prevail. Such a move would drastically affect the lives of residents of Blair Hills. At this juncture, both Wythe Lane and Coombs Court are dead-end roads ending in cul-de-sacs. If True Homes is given the green light on their plans, I believe it would be only a matter of time before these proposed cut-throughs would be deemed necessary, and Wythe Lane and Coombs Court would become thoroughfares for traffic from a neighborhood the folks in Blair Hills don't even want.
Okay, your time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. David Berry?
David Berry, 230 Wythe Lane. So stop me if you're this for, not harmonious. Everybody's good? Okay, so I think we can cross that one off the list. So what I want to know is, why are we here tonight? Everybody's spoken. I think it's pretty clear. This is a terrible idea for the town of Wendell. I don't think anybody can deny that, except for the developers. I don't think that you have any obligation to these developers, builders, none whatsoever. But you do have an obligation to the well-being of this town and these communities and the people who have lived here for decades. I think that this proposal is immediately harmful and is downright devastating to the neighborhood of Blair Hills and the people around it, a subdivision that has been standing for over 35 years. And so you want to just let brand new developers come in here and bring in new people and just destroy the marketability, desirability, and property value of 35 years or more, some of the neighboring farmland, and just tear that down to the ground. Because that's what will happen. The property values will not be the same when it is a less desirable place to live. If this proposal gets approved, I think the people who approve it might be guilty of alienating and harming a well-established community and the people who have lived here for a long time. We know what the developers are moved by. They're moved by money. I want to know what the people who vote on this, what are you moved by? Okay? Are you not moved by the outpouring of the people who have lived here and have spoken tonight and the last 2 times we've been here? The people who are crying to you and telling you that this is bad. This rate of growth is bad. Growth is good. Progress is good. Nobody here has denied that. Even though I personally don't want it, I can't deny that it's good for the town, but at a proper rate, and we are not there right now. So I'm in opposition to this strongly, and I think that everybody here has already spoken, and more people will speak, and I think that it's pretty obvious where we need to go. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Johnny Batchelor? Or Joyce Batchelor? Have they left? All right. Jason Williams?
Oh, there. Looking at Little League baseball game.
Small world.
Yeah, it's crazy to grow up in this town. Madam Mayor, Town Council, thank you for letting me speak. You've heard a lot of this already tonight. We as homeowners,
Can
Blair
you give
Hills.
us your name and address? For the
201
record?
Wythe Lane, I thought
Thank you.
42 days, I figured we had that covered.
I have to say it every time.
We as homeowners of Blair Hills understand that Edwards property is gonna be developed. We're just hoping that it's a property that can be developed that's harmonious with ours. 15.1 of the UDO to ensure developments in a manner generally harmonious with surrounding properties without the endangerment of health, safety, and general welfare of existing and prospective or future owners. So, we were told, or asked, what is the definition of harmonious? So I looked it up. Doesn't seem that hard. Having the parts agreeably related. This is from Merriam-Webster. Marked by accord in sentiment or action. Pretty simple. So, we are zoned as an RA community. Based on the Wendell ordinances, we have an RR, which gets smaller, We have an R2, which gets even smaller. Then we have an R3, but we are trying to zone it as R4 and call that harmonious. We skipped 4 steps. We didn't go down 1 step. We didn't go down 2 steps. We went down 4 steps. Find that a little bit disturbing. So just a few things, the effects of the traffic on Lake Glad Road. This project will put over 2,700 additional trips on Lake Glad daily. This does not take in the new townhomes that are planned from across the wastewater treatment plant. Lake Glad Road cannot handle this level of volume. Lake Glad Road does not have shoulders on the road. It goes from the white lane or the white line to the ditch. Those are your options. The bridge over Buffalo Creek on Lake Glad Road is completely too narrow to handle all these strips, and it can barely handle the traffic we got now. Many improvements to Lake Glad Road need to be done to handle this proposed volume. After reading the minutes from the planning board meeting in September 2021 concerning this project, it was obvious that the board knew there would be problems with this plan. However, they passed it anyway. It's okay for the planning board and planning department to reject plans. You don't have to say yes to everything, and they don't all have to be voted on unanimously. There will be other offers. People are going to come coming. They're not making any new land in Wake County. Why is our planning director trying to sell us on how nice the vinyl siding is? That's the best we've got to offer? In conclusion, a lot of people that live in Blair Hills consider it a home a forever home. This development that is being considered would greatly change this for many in our community. We all know that greed is the driving cause of this project. There's plenty of money that can be made from developing this land in a harmonious way from Blair Hills. We ask the board to kill this project. We know this won't be the last project to affect our neighborhood. However, we hope the next one will be at least somewhat similar to our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Ralph White.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Town Commissioners. My name is Ralph White. I live in Wilson. My wife, Beth White, owns one of the 3 farms adjoining the Edwards property, and it's where we spend a lot of our time and money. During the last 2 meetings, we're here for the 3rd time, and so during the last 2 meetings and this meeting, the following points were made. A subdivision of this density in this area is not in agreement with the Wendell long-term development plan. A subdivision of this density is not harmonious with the neighboring subdivisions of Blair Hills 2, Wendell Country Club, and the surrounding homes along Lake Glad Road and Old Nile Road. We heard a testimony about the track record of True Homes in Blair Hills 2. We've heard concern after concern about houses being built with vinyl siding, concerns about subdivisions with one-way streets and public streets with no public parking allowed, about the fire hazards of houses only 10 feet apart, about shoddy construction specifications. We've heard concerns about the detrimental impact on surrounding homeowners and property owners. We've heard about traffic concerns, school concerns, environmental concerns for the Buffalo Creek watershed, and the last 2 meetings have been a steady and increasing drumbeat of concern after concern. And yet, despite the overwhelming opposition to this plan, the decision was delayed again last meeting. Why? Commissioner Joyner expressed his willingness to vote in favor of this project if it would somehow get a turn lane on Eagle Rock Road over a mile away. He wanted to explore that possibility more by delaying the vote, and the majority of the commissioners agreed. Yet, at the last meeting, we were told that the North Carolina Department of Transportation was way behind in their projects, and that improvements to Eagle Rock Road and Wendell Falls Boulevard were planned. We were told these eventual plans would include the turn lane that is so desirable for Mr. Joyner. But somehow you would have us believe that if the 24 or more projects already approved along Eagle Rock Road and Wendell Falls Boulevard can't expedite this turn lane in their neck of the woods, that this project in our neck of the woods will somehow be the linchpin that will make your turn lane appear faster. So let's strip away the facade. Was this last delay really about a turn lane,
or was it about trying to find a more favorable time and environment to try to push through this project against the wishes of the public? Please do something Wendell deserves. Vote no on this annexation tonight, and vote no to more cheap, dense, transitional housing on the Lakeland Road corridor. And in the future, please include plans for well-constructed, low-density neighborhoods in Wendell where people who want to make Wendell their permanent home will move. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Clay, and I can't read the last name, starts with a C. And a reminder, please address your comments to the entire board and don't single out any particular board member. Is Clay Craftsson, it looks like? I can't read it.
I don't want to speak.
Okay, thank you. Zach Anderson?
Zach Anderson, our office is at 6801 Falls and News Road in Raleigh. Madam Mayor, members of the commission, we're here tonight to seek your approval in rezoning two properties along Wendell Falls Parkway that we feel meet a bullseye approach to both the current land use plan and the future 2030 blueprint plan that the members of the community, committees, and planning staff have all given feedback into creating. 1320 Wendell Falls Parkway, which is to the east or the west of the Eagle Rock Road and Wendell Falls Parkway intersection. We're requesting a neighborhood commercial rezoning that incorporate a master plan approval for 200 townhomes. We feel like the townhomes are an appropriate transition to the commercial that is required by the future land use plan. Additionally, we feel like the infrastructure that'll be created by this project will help solve a lot of the issues that we're hearing about today, traffic, and a part of this plan would be us dedicating right-of-way at that intersection, at three sides of that intersection, to allow future expansion and the number of projects in the partnership with the town that we're working on to fix the major issues at this intersection. I'll say that the way these two projects look today are a result of many, many iterations and revisions to these plans at the request of planning staff, planning board, and many of the members of the community. So we feel like we've come to you with a project that we've been directed into. So we're hopeful that tonight we can get a rezoning, and both with this project and 1032 Wendell Falls Parkway, which meets the vision of the 2030 plan. We hope that these will be part of the solution for the town, both in traffic and many of the other concerns that we've heard here tonight. Again, to reiterate some of the items in the 2030 plan, there's 70% of folks that responded to that poll wanted mixed use. They wanted more commercial, and we think that these two projects help make that a reality at the best spot in Wendell for these type of projects. So we ask that you consider tonight voting yes to approve these projects for rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy, it might be Rockwell.
Hi, Kathy Rockwell, 107 Combs Court. Pretty much just want to reiterate what everybody has already said. The Edwards property as proposed is not harmonious with our neighborhood. I don't understand. I'm kind of really blown away about how we've gotten to this point where there's so much development already on the books and it's so dense, and we're here considering adding even more to it. I want to know why the town's deviating from its own guidelines and rules of how to develop. Our small town is going to become overpopulated with no charm, just townhouses and the same commercial properties that you can find everywhere else. Selective be selective in the development that you allow. Keep our charm. Let's grow our charm. I don't think anybody's against development completely. Take the 30,000-foot view of what's already happening and make wise choices. Please vote no to the annexation and the rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Bert Wiggins?
Bert Wiggins, 200 White Lane. I'm here just to speak about my family situation. It's important for y'all to know where I live. I live at the end of White Lane. There's 2 houses on the cul-de-sac. Jason lives across from me. My property runs all the way back to the creek. So I hope y'all understand where it's at. Because they've come in and they put in one strip of road with houses just on one side and then a small cul-de-sac. Are y'all familiar with that? Well, anyway, my house is on 3 acres, one house. They're gonna take the same amount of land, 3 acres, and put 9 houses on it and one water runoff pond. And y'all can figure that one out. Thank you.
Thank you. Regina Harmon?
Good evening, Commissioners, Madam Mayor. My name is Regina Harmon. I live at 6616 Tails Branch Road. I'd like to read a quote from President Ronald Reagan. "We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast." End quote. With that being said, we are not opposed to growth. We know it's coming, but let us do it responsibly, balanced. This town is not ready for how fast we are growing, how fast our board is passing projects. Our infrastructure can't handle it. This is not just about the Lake Glad, Blair Hills project. This is about all projects in Wendell coming before this board. The town has about 30 development projects and or under construction in Wendell. If development fixes infrastructure, great. Let's get these 30 projects somewhat completed before moving forward. Then we will know if the infrastructure is being handled correctly in all parts of Wendell, or will the 30 projects just add and create more issues? Again, this is not about stopping growth altogether. We want balanced growth. I put a petition together, and it's been signed by over 300 people, and it's not these people, it's additional people. The petition reads, "I would like a commissioner to make a motion at tonight's meeting, November the 22nd, 2021, at 7 p.m. to take action to put on hold for 1 year passing any rezoning of R4 high-density subdivisions, townhomes within the ETJ limits of Wendell until everything that the board has passed is 50% completed. At the 1 year mark, we request that the town of Wendell do an independent traffic and safety study. And at the 1 year mark, the town of Wendell will review the infrastructure throughout the 27591 zip code within the city limits." Now, I have these petitions to give to you, and I have this to give to you. But I just want you to know that no matter what you guys do tonight, whether or not you agree with what I'm saying or anybody else is saying, you turn things down, we're putting together a citizen coalition for Wendell. It's going to be a group of people that we're going to fund in order for us to work with you and also make sure that we're staying on track to make sure that we're growing in a balanced, harmonious way for the town of Wendell. Now, this is something we want to do together, but we do not want our town to lose its small town charm. Thank you very much, and I'd like to approach and give you this.
You can give it to the clerk, and she'll distribute it to us.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd like each one of them to have that, highlighted it, and that.
Susan Robbins?
Mayor Gray, Commissioners, Susan Robbins, 302 Maddox. Tonight we are gathered here to decide the development, the fate, and the future of Wendell for years to come. We have one shot to do this properly, and that is tonight. This meeting is going to be setting a precedent for the future development in Wendell. We're deciding what we will be giving our children and grandchildren for a town. We're deciding the legacy that we're going to leave to Wendell. Will we continue to be a beautiful small town or a playground for developers to have their way? And these developers will most likely be living somewhere other than their own developments in Wendell. I have nothing personal to gain by being here tonight, except being part of a community that welcomed me when I came here 15 years ago. And all those years ago, we were standing against this very day that is upon us. The Wendell Town Commissioners of that time called for and paid $250,000 of town money for a unified development ordinance, the UDO that we speak of, to create a town of enduring beauty and one that created room for healthy growth and robust commercial growth. These projects that have been presented tonight, all of these projects do not represent that. We have heard from many people who have made that case already. Some people that are impacted by the Edwards Road project who are our people who are not represented by this town commissioner. They don't have a vote. But many citizens here tonight, like myself, agree that it is an egregious mistake to build out adjoining communities to that property, and we stand with those citizens tonight. We elected you to represent us, and so we are here to say no to that project. It takes time to build a beautiful community and just moments to ruin a community with quick decisions and nods to builders as if they are the ones who should decide the fate of our town. We want property values to increase and not decrease, as the communities adjoining Wendell Falls Parkway are going to be doing. We have a plan in place already for the development, and it's being ignored, and we stand against those developments. We, the people, have spoken, and we say no to these projects. We believe that you, as our representatives, must say no to these projects. Otherwise, what does our government even mean? We are the people to whom you should be listening. The developers can do better jobs at developing their communities. The board can slow down the onslaught of these cookie-cutter developments that are coming through and has an obligation to we, the people, again. Tonight is going to determine if the town board of commissioners actually listens to the people that are in this room, the people who have signed petitions, and the people who have come here repeatedly to tell you what they want. We are the people that you represent. And we ask you, and we believe that it is only reasonable that you vote no to all of these projects that are presented tonight. God bless you as commissioners, mayor, and God bless America.
Thank you. Dan Edwards.
Dan Edwards, I live at 155 Lutom Lane. So, like a lot of other people here, this is the third meeting that I've been to about the Edwards property. All any citizen can expect and should demand is open, honest, and transparent government. It's become increasingly crystal clear to the people here that certain commissioners on this board are very interested in any developer that comes before you that wants R4 or R7 zoning, maximum density in anything that they do. The public hearing for this project was closed on October the 25th. If you bring the developer or any of his representatives back before the town board tonight, you should reopen the public hearing. It's not fair to us, and you're trying to silence us if that procedural move is proposed. One thing at the last meeting when this vote was tabled, several of the commissioners said that engagement with the public was very important in their decision to approve a project. So at the last meeting, I read a quote, and obviously it wasn't listened to. So that quote was made by Mr. Robbie Bell, who identified himself as the engineer of record with Bass, Nixon, and Kennedy. I didn't paraphrase this. This is the exact quote. Several years ago, one of the members of True Homes reached out to Ms. White's son and to talk to him. I don't know what was said. That person is no longer with True Homes. so I don't know what more I can say, end quote. That's the total engagement with the adjacent property owners by True Homes. The only exception to that probably is Mr. Jones owns 60 acres adjacent to this piece of property. It's pretty obvious that Lucius has done business in the past with True Homes, and he probably would like to sell his piece of land to True Homes for the same high density that we've got here. So that represents the engagement that we saw from True Homes here. If there's any procedural move tonight to table this motion, or if you vote to table this motion, or if you vote for the annexation or the rezoning, it's a direct insult to the citizens of Wendell, and it shows the special interest that some people might represent. If you're in the audience, or if you're watching this on any social media that the town of Wendell offers, I encourage you to pay attention to the vote tonight. You're going to find out who represents you and who represents the special interest of one local developer and True Homes, a developer who's come to Wendell and tried to push a maximum density project on us that nobody wants. Thank you.
Right, that's the last person that was signed up for public comment. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move into section 4, recognitions, reports, and presentations. Tonight is a special night. It's the last full meeting for one of our commissioners that chose not to run for re-election. It's Mayor Pro Tem / Commissioner John Boyette. We have something for him, but first, I wanted to comment real quickly. We had our groundbreaking for our town hall today, and Commissioner Boyette has been instrumental in pushing in the development of the vision for the new town hall, pushing for the fact that we needed facilities for town in general, for employees, for citizens. He's just been, he just wouldn't give up. He's vehement in his insistence that these things are needed, and I agree that they are needed. He's also an avid supporter of the residents of the ETJ. He's many times up here mentioned his own experience growing up, living in the ETJ, and feeling like that group was underrepresented, and that was one of the reasons he ran for the board, and I think he would probably say yes, it was. So I want to thank him for his service, for his comic relief when we needed it sometimes, for him pulling for the Wolfpack with me, and it's hard to be a State fan. I'm anticipating a sad day Friday, but I don't want to talk about that yet. And his very unique perspective and humor will certainly be missed by me, and I'm sure the rest of the board would echo that. So, we have a proclamation honoring the dedicated service of Commissioner John Boyette. Whereas John Boyette has served the town of Wendell as commissioner from 2013 through 2021, and whereas John Boyette has put forth substantial effort toward improving the quality of life for the citizens of the town of Wendell, and whereas John Boyette has supported the town board in the adoption of the Town of Wendell, North Carolina Strategic Plan, Transportation Plan, and Pedestrian Plan, among many other initiatives that have benefited the community. Whereas John Boyette has served unselfishly in his capacity for the good of the town of Wendell, making sacrifices in his personal and family ties, now therefore be resolved by Mayor Virginia Gray and the Wendell Board of Commissioners that John Boyette is hereby officially commended on behalf of the citizens of Wendell for valuable service rendered to the town of Wendell, duly proclaimed this the 22nd day of November 2021 in regular session, and it's signed by me. You can clap now. Yes.
I just want to thank everybody that I've been up here working with on the board, this board and boards in the past. I want to thank the citizens. I want to thank staff. I want to thank everybody that's come before this board. I want to thank all our auxiliary boards, our citizen boards, planning, Parks and Rec, appearance, all those. It's been a fun 8 years. I've learned a lot. I got on here for, I don't wanna say selfish reasons, but I got on here for reasons, that I thought there were some underrepresented people, and I saw the opportunity and I took it. I don't regret much, from my 8 years here. And it's been, like I said, a learning experience, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that's made it possible, especially my family. My wife who's home again by herself with the kids on a meeting night when I could be there. So just thank you again. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, item 4B is our fiscal year 2021 audit presentation. Can you introduce our speaker?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the board. Tonight we've got a presentation by our auditor, Petway, Mills and Pearson for the fiscal year 2001, which goes from July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2021. So if you'd please give your attention to Mr. Briggs. We appreciate his time and effort. We had an audit committee member meeting prior to this meeting, and he gave the results to the Mayor Pro Tem, and so he's going to give now the presentation to the full board.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'll try to push the right button on the presentation here. Forward, thank you. Okay. Our job is to give an opinion on the quality of the financial statements prepared by the town of Wendell finance people. We have two opinions that we're asked to make in your case. One is opinion on the fair presentation of the financial statements. Are they fairly presented in all material respects so they would not mislead a user? We believe that is the case, so our opinion is unqualified, which is the best opinion we can give. It's called a clean opinion, colloquially. We also give an opinion on how well the town, or rather, did the town comply with governmental auditing and accounting standards. Towns have specialized accounting rules that are somewhat different from for-profit accounting that many of us in the business world are familiar with. We believe the town does, in fact, use governmental accounting standards properly, so our opinion is also unqualified, unmodified, and it is a clean opinion. So our report gives two very favorable opinions here. Your town has assets of $21 million. That is, some of it is money in the bank, some of it's accounts receivable, some of it is collections to come in from taxes, some of it is rolling stock and real estate on the ground. Your town owes liabilities of $14.8 million, so you have more assets than you owe, leaving you with net assets of $6.9 million. At our household, we call that the equity in our ownership. Of your $6.9 million in net assets, $6 million is cash. Of that, $3 million is available to be spent, and slightly more, or slightly less rather, is restricted. There are some governmental funds that are held to be distributed later, and there's some prepayments by activities that have already happened. Revenues for the year were $10 million, $10,185,000. Your expenses were $9 million. You had about a $1.1 million advance in total governmental activity for your town. This looks more impressive than it is. This is the water and sewer fund, which you have transferred to the city of Raleigh, as is pretty much everybody in Wake County. The only asset you've got or is actually an offset to a liability. You have a loan out there for $7.9 million. Raleigh is servicing that loan and reimbursing the payments you make against it. The general fund, which is the operating fund basically, it's total, in your case, it's total assets without regard to capital, real estate, equipment, vehicles, $11 million of financial assets, cash, accounts receivable. Total liabilities are $4.16 million. Your fund balance here in total is 7.5, and there's just a little bit of measurement difference between this and the number we had on the previous page. A lot of the audit report, if you read this 70 some odd page thing, is reconciling the presentations between there. Undesignated fund balance. You have $5.7 million of undesignated fund balance. That is accumulated over time. That's a sign that you're a pretty good steward of public assets here. The statutory requirements by the Local Government Commission ask us to keep 8% of the prior year's expenditures in undesignated fund balance. That would be $826,000. Your multiples over that. So it's just a sign of good stewardship. It gives the town a little bit of room to grow, a little bit of room to cover an emergency. Findings, there were no changes in the accounting policies during the year. This was not a big year for accounting changes, so there was nothing we needed to see implemented. Use of estimates, you did estimate the estimated useful life of your fixed assets, how long they're lasting. Buildings depreciated by 30 years, equipment down to 5 years, somewhere in between for most of it. You have debt and you have sensitive disclosures. We have to make some estimates regarding the value of pension funds and the value of post-employment retirement benefits. At best, that's a future look, so that's going to be a guess or an estimate. And we disclose those estimates. As we did our audits, we did not have any disagreements with management. We asked for information and we were provided with it. We've asked management to represent that in writing that if we asked questions, we got truthful replies. And they certainly returned that letter to us. Your report was submitted in a timely manner to the Local Government Commission, and sometime over the next few months, they may comment back on it. There are 1,800 municipalities in North Carolina, one form or another, and Local Government Commission is trying to review them all right now. So yours is in line somewhere. There were no we did not ask you to make an adjustment that y'all chose not to make. If we did make an adjustment, y'all agreed with us. I say we thank you for the opportunity to conduct your audit. Before I got to the last screen, I wish I'd remind you, if you've got the audit report 72 pages long, 21 pages are footnotes explaining the details and all the numbers. 10 of the 21 pages are details about retirement plan liabilities and post-employment retirement, post-employment obligations. Those are the difficult estimates that we have to make, and you've had actuarial valuations made through the local government retirement system for those numbers. They all change if the interest rates change, and they probably will, and of course they'll go up and down over time. But there's some significant estimates, and there's 10 pages of footnotes explaining those estimates in there, so I encourage you to read that. Not to belabor anything, if you've got a question, I'll try to answer it.
Right. Any questions from the board? I don't guess so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 4C is a discussion of the Wake County Fire Commission appointment. Ms. Howard?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the board. The town of Wendell participates in the Wake County Fire Protection Service District. As a participant, Wake County appoints a representative to the Wake County Fire Commission to represent the town of Wendell. Persons appointed by Wake County to the Fire Commission serve a 2-year term beginning November 1st and expiring October 30th. Persons appointed may serve for 2 consecutive terms unless otherwise decided by Wake County. Mr. Lucius Jones is the town's current Fire Commission representative, and his term expired October 31st, 2021. Mr. Jones has served 4 consecutive terms and has expressed his wish to resign the opportunity for serving his 5th term. Meetings of the Wake County Fire Commission are held on the 3rd Thursday of every other month, beginning in January, except if a regular meeting day is on a legal holiday, in which case the meeting shall be held the following business day. The meetings are held at the Wake County Emergency Services Education Center in Raleigh, unless scheduled elsewhere, and shall begin at 7 p.m. An organizational meeting is conducted in January, in which a chair and vice chair are selected. Information about the Wake County Fire Commission has been provided to the town board in advance of this meeting so that the town board may submit a citizen recommendation by its December 13th, 2021 town board meeting. In turn, the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners' recommendation will be forwarded to the Wake County Town Clerk, who will then put it on a future agenda for the Wake County Board of Commissioners. So this is an opportunity to discuss amongst yourselves and decide if there's a recommendation readily available from a citizen, or if you wanted to wait until the December 13th meeting.
Have we done any kind of recruitment for this?
No. This is the first time that we've had to recruit somebody new, so I'm not sure if that was done the last time.
Well, I kind of feel like, much like our other appointments, we ought to maybe do that. Test interest. I don't know. What do y'all think?
The fire department board considered this question. Obviously, this matters greatly to the fire department, and historically, the fire department has made the recommendation to the county as well. The fire chief's here tonight, and is able to speak to the fire department and the fire board's idea on this, and the idea is that I would serve on the fire commission. I've already been attending fire commission meetings and working with the Wendell board since I've been appointed to this board. Wendell is moving in the right direction as far as some of the capital needs, but the fire commission sits between the county commissioners and all other external folks in making recommendations on growth, requests, and needs. The chief has more than briefed me on the number of needs that we're going after, 3 in particular that I've already started working with Commissioner Calabria from the county board on. And like I said, Chief's here to speak to that as well if others have thoughts.
Any comments from anyone else? All right, well, what's y'all's pleasure? What do y'all want to do? How do you want to handle it?
I would like to hear the chief speak if he would like to.
Hey, good evening. Brian Staples, Fire Chief. I'm also the East Region representative on the Fire Commission, as well as I'm the current Vice Chairman. At our October board meeting, the Wendell Fire Department Board of Directors, as Commissioner Joyner mentioned, we discussed this internally, and the unanimous recommendation from our Board of Directors is for a recommendation that Commissioner Joyner be appointed to serve in this seat. As he stated, he's already working with Commissioner Calabria on some items, and we've got some big things coming up. And Mr. Jones was on our board on the commission for quite a while, and has been very successful. And we just had a recent ribbon cutting at Wendell Station 3, and it was due to the efforts of the work of this board, as well as on his work on the Fire Commission. But the pleasure of our board and our recommendation of our board is that Commissioner Joyner be recommended and appointed to the seat for Wendell. He'll represent our interests and, most importantly, the town's interests on the Fire Commission.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Mayor, have a motion?
Yeah.
Motion to make the recommendation for appointment of Commissioner Jason Joyner to the Wake County Fire Commission.
All right, we have a motion to recommend Commissioner Jason Joyner join the Wake County Fire Commission. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Any opposed? Okay. 4-1. All right, item 4D is a discussion of planning board vacancies.
Hello again. Due to the recent resignation of in-town Planning Board member Dean Eatman, the Town Board of Commissioners will need to appoint a new in-town Planning Board member with a partial term ending June 30th, 2024, in order to fill that vacancy. The Town Board of Commissioners was sent all current in-town Planning Board applications that were received from June 2021 up to this point that have not already been appointed to other citizen advisory boards. The board may choose to either take a vote at its December 13th, 2021 town board meeting with the applications currently on file, or may choose to re-advertise the vacancy for a period of 30 days before making an appointment with current and future applications received. Current applications were provided to the town board prior to this meeting, and I will take whatever next steps are necessary after discussion by the board.
How long has it been since we've advertised for that?
Well, we just received Mr. Eatman's resignation.
But I mean, the ones you have on file, how long have we had them on file?
Since June 2021, yep.
Gosh, 5 months, I don't know. I kinda like the idea of letting people, but I don't know. What's y'all's pleasure?
To me, it makes sense to have those who have put an application in, to reach out to those folks, to see if they would be interested in doing this again or still have interest. And then I still think opening up for a period of 30 days for new interest would be, definitely recommended as well.
All right, I will start advertising after today, and, I'm sorry?
Okay, so we need a motion to make that.
I'll make that in form of motion.
Okay. That we, so there's a motion to contact the existing applicants that you have and to see, gauge their interest and see, also advertise for 30 days. Is that your motion?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We have no public hearing scheduled for tonight. So we'll move into, Section 6, our administrative items. Item 6A is a decision on a non-contiguous annexation for 2 parcels totaling approximately 121.3 acres. I'm not going to read them all out. Located at 0 Lake Glad Road and 1005 Lake Glad Road. Mr. Coates.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The applicant this afternoon sent revised condition number 10 for the rezoning, which prohibited vinyl. And so there's a new condition 10 that you'll see for the rezoning. And then the applicant last week sent a request to table the item. The applicant is here if you have any additional questions.
Are there any questions from the board?
What was the change again?
Let me go to that slide real quick. So condition 10 that you see highlighted in yellow states, exterior siding of the home shall be high quality, show texture, and be primarily of cementous or other non-vinyl material with a minimum of 5 inches in width. And that came in this afternoon from the developer.
Commissioner Joyner?
Brian, do you, I guess, and I'm not sure this is for you or the applicant, but an update on, what has been described as a, difficult traffic question that I asked last time, as far as the ability to coordinate, and then, any, beyond the, Hardy Plank, are there other changes that have occurred in the past 2 weeks?
To answer that second part, there's been no other changes made to the zoning conditions or the site plan, and I'll let the applicant address their conversations they've had with NCDOT.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Rich Taylor. I'm with True Homes, 900 Perimeter Park Drive in Morrisville. We did request an extension or a deferment until January to work out the big question, which was transportation issues that were brought up. And we have had meetings both with our consultants who are here tonight to address any traffic concerns, as well as our project engineer, and with the NCDOT. and got a very good reception in terms of developing a framework of how we can fund and accomplish all of the committed improvements related to this project and others, with True Homes taking the lead to help get that done. Now, we don't have the specifics in place for that, but we did address that question in particular. And again, our traffic engineer is here tonight to answer any specific questions about traffic, as well as our project engineer, who was also involved with those meetings.
Follow up?
Yeah.
Can you talk about, you said you requested an extension, and that you had an initial meeting with DOT. Can you talk about what would be achieved by, I'm assuming, an additional meetings with DOT, and I'm assuming I'm correct in that you have already met with DOT?
We have, yes.
Okay. So can you speak to the extension and what that would allow for y'all?
The extension would allow for us to develop a framework for, specifically what we were talking about is the intersection at Wendell Falls Parkway and, I'm sorry. Eagle Rock Road, thank you. Where there are multiple developments that are impacting that intersection. Each developer is responsible for pieces and parts independently. So our goal with taking the lead and developing a framework for how that gets done and paid for is to get it done the most efficient way possible, which is all at one time, instead of each development doing a turn lane and then another development coming back a year later and doing a separate turn lane. Getting those improvements done and funded in an efficient manner. And our discussions went well, and our traffic engineer, along with the DOT, is assembling the projects which are funneling traffic into that intersection, and then we will decide on a framework of how that gets paid. And True Homes is intended to take the lead on making those improvements happen by being proactive and getting it all done at one time. So it's hard to do that in 2 weeks when there's multiple parties, and so we requested that decision on our project be deferred until January of next year.
I can add staff.
Please.
Sorry.
Thank you. Town Manager Marvin Collins. Staff had a conversation with DOT in the last 2 weeks as requested by the board. The framework that they have in mind and have done in other communities would be that the town would need an encroachment agreement from DOT, and then any fee in lieu for impacted subdivisions or off-site improvements would be required by DOT to be funneled into the project fund held by the town. And the town would do the project as soon as it can get sufficient funds to design and do the turn lane improvements needed for that intersection. The intersection is currently not in the town, and most of the traffic impacting and failing that intersection are not from Wendell or Wake County, they're from Johnston County. With that said, it does impact our residents, and it is a strategic plan initiative of this board for us to begin resolving that issue. And so to date, that's the actual framework and structure. It's the town proactively getting an encroachment agreement and doing the work. If we wait on DOT, it's 2 to 3 decades in the 2050 constrained plan for the improvements on Wendell Falls. So this is how you do it quicker, in partnership with DOT and the town, and any requirements by DOT in the town on developments that happen
between now and then.
How long do you estimate that would take for the town?
If we dedicated resources today, it would take the time for engineers to design the right-of-way. It would take any right-of-way acquisition that's needed on the property. And I know that at least one developer has secured commitments from 3 of the 4 corners, which may be sufficient for the turn lane motions. And then the time to bid and construct. So short term, which is a tomorrow estimate for DOT on roads, would probably be 1.5 to 2 years to get it completed, if we started now.
When you say dedicate resources, explain to me what those resources are.
For the town, it would be fee in lieu for streets, which is held aside and have to be used on projects such as this. So it would require an appropriation of the board of fee in lieu funds. Also a commitment, since it's a multi-year project, of future anticipated fee in lieu. Any developments that are required by their TIAs to do traffic turn lane improvements at this intersection as part of their DOT driveway permit would be required to contribute as a fee in lieu, so it would all be done at one time. But that's, what that means though is the board's not beholden to any particular development to get this done, but as developments TIAs impact, they would be contributed to that project.
Any questions from the board further?
So, quick question.
No.
So that would be already money that we have from all the other building that's been going on. Fee in lieu money we're using towards that. Without this other development, we can still do it.
The board has previously approved fee in lieu that would not cover the complete cost at this time, but there are a couple larger ones that are expected within the next year or two that could go towards the project, and then any future improvements moving forward could be dedicated to that. Of course, funding outside of fee in lieu could also be appropriated.
So you're talking about using potential fee in lieu money for projects that haven't been approved just yet?
And some that...
and some that have and some that haven't.
For instance, there's a second installment for one of the Wendell Falls fee in lieus for the Martin Pond Road improvements that's still outstanding, that's due probably within the next year and a half.
But besides Wendell Falls, are there others in addition to Wendell Falls?
There's limited funding remaining in fee in lieu. We've received a few smaller ones.
I mean, that you anticipate getting.
Eagle Rise that's been approved already has a turn lane requirement, so that amount would go into that if any of the developments are approved tonight that have a TIA requirement. I'm saying I don't know what would be approved in the future, not approved by the board. That's y'all's purview, not mine.
I just don't want to set up a situation where we've decided to lump all this money together from several different sources, and then we feel compelled to approve something that maybe we might not would have otherwise because we need to finish that intersection.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
without going into our other monies to do that.
Right, and what I'm saying is until we have a cost estimate for the improvement, it's hard for me to tell you exactly where the money would come from.
That's just a philosophical concern I have. Okay, any other comments from the board?
Madam Mayor, I have a motion.
Yep.
Motion to deny the request to table this agenda item to a later time.
Okay, so we have a motion to deny the request to table this item to a later time. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Commissioner Boyd, for making the motion. I'm just going to explain very quickly why I'm voting the way that I am, why I think it's important. I just heard this evening, one, I made commitments to people in this room when we started this thing that I wasn't going to leave you in a worse place than you were when we started, and two, that I was going to get answers to questions on transportation. It is my personal opinion, and I happen to have been in all these meetings but two for the last 6 years, that we miss things oftentimes by not having the things happen at the right time. At this particular time, we have several things happening at the right time. And we have, I don't know how you get a meeting with DOT as quickly as the meeting that's already occurred. I can tell you, as someone who routinely tries to get meetings with state agencies, this is not a friendly time to do that. I'm encouraged by the fact that someone from the development world has said, yeah, we're looking to come in and us front it, us do it, and work it back from there. Because historically, people will get upset about things, but historically the things that people are upset about is the delay and the inability for us to predict when these things are going to happen. That's a thing that I've heard many, many times. So in my mind, we have an opportunity here to figure out what Lakeland transportation improvements should be. The next project that comes along, because I've heard everyone contend that yes, development will occur here, but what I would argue is that R3 is traffic-wise not a lot more different than R4. So when something comes along that looks prettier and that looks nicer, maybe it's brick, maybe it's 2,500 square foot minimums, maybe it's third-acre lots, the traffic impact is still going to be pretty close to the same. And the community that we're all here is going to be left with, the community is still going to be left with the traffic problem, right? So my solution to that is to figure out the traffic problem. We certainly can figure it out in a variety of ways, and I get that, and I understand that my fellow board members would like to move on. But I wanted to explain why I'll be voting the way that I am, and that's you have a property owner and a developer here working on a project. We all admit that we think that another project is going to come back. We don't know what that project comes back will look like. And the one thing that I'd hoped to carry into it was, but we know what the solution for traffic is. We have to, as a community, get to a place where we know where the solution for traffic is. So that is my explanation of my vote, Madam Mayor.
Anyone else?
I have a comment as well, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
I think we'll all agree that, you know, this particular item, maybe things should have started in a better place. You know, certainly not always the case, but, you know, there is a value in delaying sometimes. I've seen it happen before. I know that is not popular, and we've seen that time and time again. But, you know, I think it's always important to explain, you know, why you vote for or against. You know, for me, it always goes back to the solutions. I'm not prepared to vote for the project as it is. I am, however, prepared to go along with the developer to table the item. Do I want these folks that are here, that have been here multiple times, to continue to come back? No, I do not. Also don't want to, you know, simply approve things on the backs of people that oppose vehemently a particular project. We've got a laundry list of things that people are concerned about. I think the overwhelming, you know, consensus, we're not opposed to growth necessarily, but we want to make sure that we get what's best, we get what's harmonious. That's the word. You know, I'm on board with everybody when it comes to density, when it comes to traffic. You know, when we stick to the things that are objective, I'm okay with that. You know, I'm always a proponent of getting it right. You know, I've had some discussions recently that I think have been helpful. The last 2 weeks have not been fun for a lot of folks. There's a lot of dividing, but you know, at the end of the day, these conversations that I have, the emails that I get, the phone calls that I receive, I appreciate each of them. So, again, I'm not prepared to vote for the project as it sits, but, I have no issue with tabling the item if necessary. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor, I just want to repeat my motion.
Yep, go ahead.
My motion is that I make a motion to deny the request to table this item.
Okay, we still have to vote on the annexation next, okay?
True.
All right, so we have a motion to deny the request to table this, by the developer, to table this item. All in favor, signify by raising your hands, please, to deny.
For yes.
Three, and, anyone opposed? Two. All right, we're not gonna table it.
Madam Mayor, I have a motion.
All right, let's hear that one.
Make a motion to deny the non-contiguous annexation for two parcels totaling approximately 121.3311 acres located at 0 Lake Glad Road and 1005 Lake Glad Road.
All right, we have a motion to deny the non-contiguous annexation for two parcels totaling approximately 121.33 acres at 0 Lake Glad Road and 1005 Lake Glad Road. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor, signify by raising your hands. All right, so what about 6B, Mr. Attorney?
No votes required
Okay.
for 6B, you don't have the authority to annex.
All right, that's what I thought. I didn't know if we need to just say that out loud. Okay. Item 6C is a decision to rezone approximately 34.69 acres from RA to R7 conditional for 1032 and 1116 Wendell Falls Parkway.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The public hearing was held on this item November 8th. There has been no adjustments to the agenda item or any of the zoning conditions. The applicant is here if you have any questions for them as well.
All right, any questions from the board?
I'm trying to get to it, Madam Mayor. Make sure I read it correctly.
It's okay, take your time.
Can I ask a question while he's browsing here?
Go ahead.
In regards to the, this piece of property we're looking at here, it's aware to me that there is a, existing road, Jake May Drive, that runs up and supplies the one development. Well, was there ever any discussion, and this may be a question for the developer, to bring in the piece of land that's between what they're looking at and this piece of lot, and this lot, so that the turn-in comes off Jake May more off of, Wendell Falls Parkway?
Yeah, I can let the developer answer that question.
He skipped this, I don't know. Yes.
Again, Zach Anderson, 6801 Falls and News Road in Raleigh. We initially had a plan that incorporated both of these properties, but the owner of that property was not interested in selling to us at that point in time. And I will make one other clarification. In condition 7 there, that should be 12 inches as discussed at last week's meeting, versus the 8 inches of exposed front foundation.
Correct in the packet. Is it correct in the packet? Okay. So it's correct in your packet, it's just wrong on the slide.
On the slide, okay.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
Just a couple of comments before I'm ready to make a motion. We talk about density, and we talk about where it belongs. I haven't made, or tried to hide that I think we do have a place for high density in Wendell. It belongs along, sorry, our thoroughfares, in places where the traffic can easily get out, to the highway and to other services. I believe this one, and perhaps the next one coming up, both of these are right along, one of our two major thoroughfares in town. This is an appropriate place for this sort of density. And on back roads is not, and so, that's why I'll be voting to approve this one. I have a motion if you're ready.
Are there any other comments from the board? Okay, go ahead.
Motion to rezone approximately 34.69 acres from rural agricultural to residential 7 conditional district for 1032 and 1116 Wendell Falls Parkway.
So we have a motion to approve the rezoning of approximately 34.69 acres from R8 to R7 conditional for 1032 and 1116 Wendell Falls Parkway. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I just have a few things, Madam Mayor, and I didn't say this a second ago because I wasn't sure what Commissioner Boyd's motion was going to be, so I was keeping myself quiet for a minute. I've heard a lot tonight too about development and what's coming to this town too. While I don't disagree that this is the absolute worst place for this, I am, as like many citizens, having concerns with, and I've said this before, seeing the same amount of stuff all coming at the same time. To me, I would love to see the different variety. I would love to see, as commissioners, us discussing what we foresee in certain areas. I believe I'm in a minority tonight, but this is something similar we've seen over and over again in town. I would love to see something different. I don't enjoy certain things about this plan details. I don't like and this is a small detail, but the two homes that have the access right off the main corridor road. I don't like that. I don't like just the density in general. I understand that we have a transportation issue, which is the intersection that should not be named. But I'm all for solutions. I'm all from getting there, whether it's and I'm not the smartest person in the world to figure out how to get there exactly, but for me, as a citizen, this is not my answer to getting there. And so I would like to still see other options than this coming before us. So from that standpoint, I'll be against it tonight.
Any other comments from the board? I feel like I'm happy to hear Commissioner Lutz. I feel like we're losing something here in Wendell, and we are losing some of the things that make us kind of special. And I don't think we need to be just like every other town, shoulder to shoulder. And I think it takes great strength to lead and not follow. And I believe we need to lead by being unique here. And that means we don't need 200 more townhouses crammed on top of people who don't again, it's another issue of being harmonious with the adjoining development to me. Anyone else?
I have a motion if you're ready for it, Mayor.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Or no, I'm sorry, I already made the motion.
Made it.
Never mind,
Restate
I'm sorry. I was about to read the same thing over.
Approve, and that was a discussion on the motion. So I'll just restate it. We have a motion to rezone, to approve the rezoning from RA to R7 conditional. All in favor signify by raising your hands. 1, 2, 3. All opposed? Okay. Item 6D is a decision on a non-contiguous annexation for 2 parcels totaling 34.69 acres for PIN number 1773987-402 and 1773972-966, located at 1032 and 1116 Wendell Falls Parkway.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the annexation of the 2 parcels that you just approved the rezoning on, and so there's no adjustments. The public hearing was held November 8th.
All right. Any questions from the board?
Should have been, I guess.
Madam Mayor, motion?
Yeah.
Motion to approve the non-contiguous annexation for two parcels totaling approximately 34.69 acres for parcels located at 1032 and 1116 Wendell Falls Parkway.
So we have a motion to approve the non-contiguous annexation for two parcels located at 1032 and 1116 Wendell Falls Parkway. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor? You raise your hands, I'm sorry. And anyone opposed?
No.
Okay. Item 6E is a decision to rezone approximately 40.53 acres from rural residential to neighborhood center conditional district for the property located at 0 Wendell Falls Parkway.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The public hearing was held in this item November 8th. One zoning condition change from the last meeting. Condition number 7 for Track A, which is the townhomes. They clarified the enhanced buffer along the western border be a minimum 20-foot undisturbed type B buffer with berm or fence with the exception of the stormwater area. So that was one change that they made in that condition. The applicant is here too if you have any additional questions.
Any questions from the board?
Just a comment, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
For the same reason I spoke earlier, this is even more to an extreme for me. Mr. Anderson said some earlier that I agree with. He said townhomes is a nice transition to commercial. I don't think townhomes are a nice transition from what's already there. I still, my gut, you know, with who we have in this town already is here. I have a hard time approving something this drastic of a change from where they currently are in their current environment. From that, and I know Wiley Oaks is, you know, I know it's a neighborhood. I know it's a street, and it's kind of getting sandwiched in there still. But having this many townhomes back up to it, and what this will bring, it's a lot of density just for this area. And maybe I'm just out on a limb on this one, but it just doesn't seem to fit at all. So for that reason, I'll be against this project.
Any other comments?
Just differentiate my vote on Lakeland versus these, and that was in listening to the presentation and looking at both our previous comp plan and our future comp plan. I assumed initially when Mr. Ellis said that it was fluff, and when I looked at it, like, no, it literally is exactly what we called for previously and what we call for in the future, and that's why I'll be voting yes.
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor, motion?
Yep.
Motion to approve the rezoning of approximately 40.53 acres from rural residential to neighborhood center conditional district for the property located at 0 Wendell Falls Parkway.
We have a motion to approve the rezoning of the property at 0 Wendell Falls Parkway. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor, raise your hands. Anyone opposed? Okay. Item 6F is a decision on a non-contiguous annexation for one parcel of approximately 40.53 acres, pin number 17736766175, located at 0 Wendell Falls Parkway.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item, the public hearing for this item was held November 8th. It's the parcel that was just motioned for rezoning. There's no changes since that public hearing time.
Any questions or comments from the board? Y'all can all make motions.
I was still scrolling.
That's okay.
Getting our money worth.
Last time, so we're gonna let them have all the fun.
All right.
Madam Mayor, motion.
Good.
Motion to approve a non-contiguous annexation for one parcel of approximately 40.536 acres for the property located at 0 Wendell Falls Parkway.
All right, we have a motion to approve a non-contiguous annexation for one parcel located at 0 Wendell Falls Parkway. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor, raise your hands. 1, 2, 3. Anyone opposed? Item 6G is the appointment of 2 partial-term in-town vacancies to the Wendell Parks and Recreation Committee. Ms. Howard.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor, members of the board. Since the appointments and combination of the Parks and Recreation Commission back in June 2021, the town has received 2 resignations from in-town positions from the following: Louis Piner, term ending June 30th, 2022, and Lucas Duggins, term ending June 30th, 2023. 4 applications have been received to fill these 2 in-town partial term positions and have been sent out to the board prior to this meeting. The Citizen Advisory Board recruitment process is a voting process done by written ballot. Applicants must receive an affirmative vote from a majority of the board members present and voting to be appointed. Applicants, appointees will start their new positions immediately following tonight's meeting. Applicants receive letters informing them of the appointment process and were encouraged to introduce themselves at the beginning of tonight's board meeting, if they so choose. The town clerk will follow up with applicants with the results of tonight's appointments, and please note on your ballots, which applicant should fill the term ending in 2022 versus 2023 by writing these years next to your selections. So I'm going to pass out those ballots now, and we can get to voting.
Gotta sign it. Mm-hmm. Oh, I gotta sign them. Thank you.
I'm sorry about it. Can I borrow that ink pen?
So we have a tie. So Mayor Gray, I'm going to give you a ballot as well, and please note which year you want which person to serve.
Mayor, I might not know what you're talking about. Choose 2 and then indicate what year I want them to be. I don't ever want to look at them. Oh, I didn't sign it.
Okay, so we have Rebecca Freeman serving the partial term ending on June 30th, 2022, and Dan Thorpe will be serving the partial term ending June 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6H is a decision to award vehicle leasing. We're going to hear from Assistant Finance Director Garrett Johnson.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the board. As you stated, I'm here to present the vehicle leasing program that we've been working to put together and ask for a decision. As part of the fiscal year 2022 budget, funds were appropriated for the use of acquiring new fleet vehicles through a leasing program. Staff was asked to develop criteria to be implemented into a request for proposals or RFP solicitation process to select the vendor. Staff requested the following information to be provided in proposals. The individual vehicle acquisition costs, the monthly lease cost for a 36 and a 48-month open-ended lease. With the 36-month, we requested that 60% equity be paid in by the end of the agreement. 48-month lease was 80%. These equity levels were kind of modeled off of standard GAAP practices. We requested any one-time fees at acquisition and any monthly maintenance plan costs, if applicable, for each vehicle based on provided a list of maintenance specifications that were requested. This was an optional alternative proposal. The town began soliciting proposals for the program on Thursday, September 23rd. Staff sent direct solicitations to 4 potential vendors. The RFP request was also listed on the town's website for any other interested parties. Staff allowed interested parties to submit questions through September 30th. Any questions received were answered directly back to the vendor, as well as posted on the website for any other vendors to have access to that information. Proposals were due by October 7th. The town received 3 proposals by the deadline. 2 were from direct solicitations, and 1 was from an outside vendor. Of the 3 proposals received, 2 were submitted using the requested basis of analysis. The 3rd proposal was submitted on different terms, which were a different term length than requested, as well as a different equity residual balance. Finance staff kind of used their best efforts to convert these figures in order to compare all 3 proposals as equitably as possible. At the end of the process, the lowest bidder has been determined to be Enterprise. Staff recommends that the vehicle leasing program be awarded to Enterprise and to authorize the town manager to sign an agreement on behalf of the town of Wendell.
All right. Are there any questions from the board?
Quick question, Madam Mayor.
Sure.
Are we able to say which one submitted different terms, equity and residual?
Yes. Universal Chevrolet submitted a differing proposal.
Any other questions from the board?
Just a comment, Madam Mayor, this is one where the details matter, and I commend Garrett for comparing apples to oranges to peaches in this. Also, this is one that, at least in my opinion, is a new innovative thing in the local government world. I think the devil may or may not be in the details. I look forward to seeing how this plays out, because I do think that if done well, it could truly help our town. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out, and I know that since this was Garrett's baby, I hope he watches it grow and monitors it for us and keeps us up to date in the future.
I'll make another comment, Madam Mayor. I'm 20-plus years in audit finance, and, you know, I get it. It's not easy to try to dig through it sometimes. So residuals are a funny thing. Leases are a funny thing. Again, something that, you know, we're trying to blaze a trail to do here. So I commend you, and certainly hope that we'll stay on top of it to make sure we made the right decision.
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor, a motion?
Yeah.
Motion to award the vehicle leasing program to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder and authorize the town manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the town of Wendell.
Okay, so we have a motion to award the, leasing contract to the lowest responsible bidder and to authorize the town manager to enter into contract with them. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? I didn't ask you to do your hands. Okay. All right, moving into item number 7, other business update. Item 7A, update on board committees by town board members. I attended Campo a week or so ago for the November meeting. We held 2 public hearings, and the first was regarding amendment number 6 to the fiscal year 2020-2029 Transportation Improvement Program, and that amendment was approved by the executive board. We also held a public hearing that no vote's been taken yet on the 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan update. We received, sounds like a short meeting, but those 2 things really took a long time. There were a lot of people there doing public comment, much like tonight. We received information about the federal surface transportation funding reauthorization bill. Generally, federal funds come in for this come in large hunks, and that's what this is. And so it's passed on the federal level, and then it funds a lot of our projects for the next few years. One difference this time is that there are some new discretionary grants that have to be specifically applied for. So, and there's an increase in that funding as well. So, maybe we can dip our toe in that as well, as we'll see as time goes by. We also received various other monthly updates, staff reports, project updates, operating budget updates, and public engagement updates. They're really making it an effort to have a lot of public engagement right now during COVID and the building being limited, who can come in and things like that. So they're making updates about how they're handling that. All right, the next one is the Triangle J Council of Governments, Commissioner Deloach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. TJ Cog, we met virtually again. They say that we're going to meet in person next go around, so we'll see what the new year may bring. There was an introduction, quite a few new staff members at the COG, so folks related to housing, clean water education, community economic development, as well as food services. So, lots of opportunity for, I guess, insight information from the COG. They also gave a presentation, which broke down in about a 20-minute conversation, which is obviously kind of tough, but the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, $1.2 trillion. Obviously, a lot of transportation pieces in there. I think the summary that they're going to send out to us is about 37 pages. So, again, a very brief conversation, but certainly a lot of money, a lot of grant opportunities, a lot of opportunities for regional partnerships there. Obviously, this is generational type funding, so good opportunity there. And then we did the around the region, which is basically the round table where I get to brag about all things Wendell. Obviously, this month's theme was what we were thankful for. So, and for me, we got a lot of great things going on here in Wendell, so I shared a few of those things. I did say that I was thankful for town staff, so shameless plug for our town staff there. And we will reconvene first of the year. Thank you.
Okay. And our commissioners' reports and comments. We'll start with Commissioner Joyner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's been an exciting couple of weeks since we last met. Obviously, the grand opening of the fire department. I think it was grand opening of a new, soon-to-be new veterinary clinic. And then, obviously, groundbreaking at Town Hall today. None of those things came overnight. None of them came as a result of a couple meetings or a couple projects. All of those things came because of years upon years, and in some instances, more than 10 years of work by people that were committed and people that were caring about that issue. I say that because right about this time, 6 years ago, I was sitting out there, and Commissioner Boyette called me up to the podium for a series of questions, and that was the first time that I got to gaze into his eyes. But he asked me a question right then that I thought like maybe here's the jab, right? About the timing and my future commitments, and I gave him some spin-off about how I didn't know what I was doing 2 years ago, and I couldn't tell you what I'm going to be doing 2 years from now. I understand now why Commissioner Boyette, who had sat in this seat, asked that question. I also understand why Commissioner Boyette, more than anything else I could have said, the time commitment that I was willing to give up front was a thing that meant something to him. I get that now, and it's because I've sat in this seat. It has been an absolute honor and pleasure. This used to be Mayor Gray's seat. I was appointed to this seat. So I had Commissioner Boyette beside me for a long time. There was a budget where the rest of the board wanted to go home. Asked us multiple times if we could go home. The first year, we moved locations of the meeting, and when Commissioner Boyette has an idea, he doesn't back off the idea. He also doesn't ever stop working on you on the idea, and you never know he's doing it. It's because he puts a lot of thought into the things he says before he says them, and he has proven to be somebody that can see town issues, personal issues, life issues from a perspective that I can really appreciate, and with kind of an open, unbiased perspective. I think that some of that comes from who raised him, some of that comes from where he was raised, and some of it comes from what he does for a living. There's a lot more that I can say. I think Mayor Gray and others covered earlier, the town hall being open, a fire department expansion. A lot of these things came because we had people that were committed over the long haul of doing the good thing and understanding that sometimes it's fun and sometimes it's not. I love Commissioner Boyette when you say, man, this is going to be a hard vote. No, it's not. You don't know what you're going to do? I mean, come on. He has that chipper ability, and I will certainly miss him. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Lutz?
I'll echo a lot of the same thoughts. Commissioner Boyette and I got on at the same time. Both of us ran unopposed, so we had this kind of camaraderie of thinking we were big stuff coming in here, and here we still are together. So it's been a lot of fun working with John. I didn't know John at all when we first started, and I've enjoyed getting to know him. I've enjoyed working with him. Like Commissioner Joyner said, he always has some good thoughts and insights and perspective, and just good ideas. And if we hadn't had that groundbreaking today, prior to his term ending, I would have given my shovel for him to be able to do that, because he deserved to be there. He deserved to turn that dirt. And he's done a lot of work. And I can still remember him sitting here talking about all these upgrades and painting, and he was like, I mean, yeah, but this is fine, but we're going to do something. We need to plan. So it's been a pleasure working with you, John, and I'll miss you up here on the board. For everybody in town, just have a good Thanksgiving this week. Travel safely. I will continue to be an advocate for those who are concerned about density and transportation and those things. I don't have all the answers for the town. There's smart people who have that, but I will continue to at least listen who talks, and try to be that voice and be that in between. So just continue. If you have concerns or have questions or have thoughts, please reach out to me. Let me know. I've gotten more emails and calls in the past couple weeks. I never thought I didn't realize I had many friends. So to keep reaching out to me, let me know. I'm always happy to talk. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Boyette?
Again, I just want to say thanks to the citizens for giving me 8 wonderful years up here. I want to say thanks to the commissioners again, both past and present, for all the putting up with that they've done with me. I know sometimes my jokes don't always land, but it's okay. I tell them anyway. I want to thank you for having the faith in me to vote me Mayor Pro Tem. I really appreciate it, and it's a high honor. And I want to thank town staff again. Town staff is above and beyond professional, in every way. And it's always sad to see somebody from staff, go, because we always lose good people. We got a lot of good people on staff. And they continue to work very hard every day. Sometimes I feel like I show up every 2 weeks and do some of this. And, but staff's here every day, and working late nights. Yeah, also, yeah, I do kind of wish we'd got this sort of engagement, before every meeting. It's nice to have citizens come. The past year and a half, 2 years now, I guess, meetings have been really quiet. Even, giving people the opportunity to call in and send in emails for comments and things like that, it really slowed down, when people don't have the opportunity to come in and see us face to face. So, again, I just want to say thank you again. It's been an honor. And unlike the mayor, I have plenty of faith in the Wolfpack this weekend. I just want to say, go Pack. I believed in them last week, and I believe in them again this week. So, thank you.
I have faith in them, but, stuff happens. Commissioner Tarnaski?
Good evening, Mayor. And I'd like to also thank Boyette for his service here and getting to know him over the last 2 years, and wish him well. And as he moves on out into the ETA, he's going to be moving out. And
Building out there, yeah.
And thank him for standing up for people that don't live in Wendell, that don't have a vote over the years. I've known him 2 years, so. But I also will have to say, I'm having a hard time. A lot of things were set up in Wendell before I became a board member, and the high density and lot sizes that kind of concern me in the traffic. Until we improve some of these intersections, I'm having a hard time passing anything. So just want to let y'all know. Thank you.
And Commissioner Deloach?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I want to thank all of the folks that have applied for our citizen boards. Again, we've been overwhelmed with applications. Appreciate the willingness, and I think that we've seen that, that folks, maybe they don't get placed on a certain board, but there are numerous opportunities to plug in. We got lots of folks moving here. We got lots of talented folks. So keep raising your hand, keep showing that willingness. We appreciate that. I do want to mention, Pastor Wallace mentioned it earlier. I do want to repeat, Pride for Parents, the toy drive that is going on for the next couple of weeks. That is through the Pleasant Grove Baptist, as well as Wendell United Methodist. Supports the Pride for Parents program, as well as the East Wake Leadership Academy. So a great way to plug in there. We've got tons of things going on. We've cut tons of ribbons. We've a little dirt today at the town hall. So I don't want to, overlook the great things that we've got going on. You've seen some paving happening, so we're improving our roads. We're improving sidewalks, new fire station. We got tons of positive things going on in our town, so I don't want to forget that. I do want to recognize that, so let's continue to focus on some of those good things that we've got going on. I'm thankful for all of those things, for sure, and I'm certainly thankful for the opportunity to serve the town of Wendell. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Fun factoid about Commissioner Deloach, I was actually born on Thanksgiving, so I have a birthday coming up, so good times. I feel like this is kind of a Mayor Pro Tem Boyette roast at this point, but I do want to thank you for your service, thank you for your leadership, your friendship, and I always appreciate your willingness to discuss things. Whether we agree or not, we can at least always talk about it. And you have no issue being direct, and that, my friend, I will always appreciate about you. So thank you very much. That's all.
I didn't know we were going to roast him, or I could have made a list. I feel really unprepared for that.
It's fine, Mayor, it's fine.
I'll email you something.
No.
So this Thursday is Thanksgiving, and it starts off the holiday season. And, around, if you turn on the news, which I really try to avoid nowadays, but our world and our country and even here in our town, there's a lot of things that, divide us. And I hope that during the holiday season, which is getting ready to start, that you will try to focus more on the things that we have in common. I'm not saying overlook those other things and not do your due diligence, but I think sometimes if you get so caught up in what makes us different, we forget some of the great things that are happening around here, and there's a lot. I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve as mayor. I look forward to all the great things that are happening. We had a groundbreaking today. We'll have a ribbon cutting. Every time I ask when the town hall's going to open, I get told in these kind of, I don't want to say cagey terms, but, and I'm not picking on Mark much, but he'll say, well, 9 months, there's a lot of ifs, you know, and so maybe about this year next time we'll be doing that. So I know he's kind of prepping me, so I won't aggravate him to death next late summer. So I know that, but I'm excited about the town hall. I'm excited about the road that we're building that's going to go into it and create a second addition to the park. A lot of things have been listed tonight where there's a lot of great things happening here. A lot of projects are going on, and we need to do better about tooting our own horn. We've talked about that a little bit. So I'm thankful for all those things and the opportunity to be here and participate in them and be part of them on your behalf. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll see you December, I forget our next meeting date, sometime in December. So we're adjourned.
Yes, sir, thank you.